Are you a service-based business owner looking to increase profits to fund your lifestyle? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now, over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hi, Paul here. Before we get into the show, would you like to make a great first impression on LinkedIn? If so, I have something just for you. When people search for your name on Google, your LinkedIn profile will normally come up first. Before meeting someone for the first time, how often do they view your LinkedIn profile? For many coaches and consultants I begin to work with, their profiles don't do them any justice. I've created a simple solution where you can whip your profile into shape to have your best foot forward when attracting new clients on LinkedIn. Go to blgdownload.com, so that's blgdownload.com, to get your 5 killer tips today. Hello to the Build, Live, Give Solo podcast, episode number 312. I'm Paul Higgins, and in today's podcast, you will learn what role humor plays in sales, when and where to use it. If it's your first time, welcome. And if you love what you hear, please subscribe. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. You can check out past shows on your favorite platform. Just search Build, Live, Give. There's also great interviews that you can find. So I was inspired to do this podcast by a long-term sales mentor. And I've got to say long-term because I've known this person for 50 years and I'm 50. So it might give you a bit of a hint who this could be. They turned 75 this week, and we have a surprise party for them this week. And everyone who is involved spoke about the humor they bring to life. So they always talked about, just, it's great. It'll be great to catch up with this person because, there's always laughs, there's always optimism, and, they are a really great person to be around. And I've been watching this particular person, build these kind of relationships over years. And when he was a child, he had polio, and he spent, most of his formative years in isolation. And he missed most of school, especially the real building blocks of school. And, he sort of dropped into the school system at an older age and really didn't know how to read or write, or not effectively. And the only way he could really defend himself is through humor, right? He also had a physical disability with polio. So, he couldn't run fast, or he couldn't run there. So he had to use his words to get through. And, they basically used this as an advantage to get a great career in one of the most prestigious sales companies in the world, sales and marketing companies, which is Coca-Cola. He ended his career as a senior sales leader, even given, his poor written skills. And, he sort of got out just before computers became our best friends, or, some people would say not. So who is this person? I think you've probably guessed it by now. But certainly if you're a past listener. But this person happens to be my father, Joe Higgins, or they call him Joey Higgins. And happy 75th birthday, Dad. I'm not quite sure if you'll be listening to this one, but anyway, happy birthday. But before I continue in a little bit how he uses his humor and how you could use it, I'd like to talk about Leadjet.io. Ever looked at a LinkedIn profile and had to manually put the information in your sales CRM? It's a pain. Today I heard of someone and I just went straight to their profile, clicked the button, straight into my sales CRM. Ever sent someone a message on LinkedIn and had to copy and paste it, right? Now it automatically syncs. So no more with Leadjet.io. It gives you both of these activities automatically, as I've just explained. And it works across most of the major sales CRMs, including Copper, CRM, Pipedrive, HubSpot, Salesforce, and they're continuing to build it out. But anyway, enough from hearing from me. Why don't you check it out for yourself? Just go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/leadjet. So that's Leadjet, Jet. So how does humor play an important role in sales, and why should it? I think there's such a crowded space at the moment, or, everyone's sort of complaining about the way that they're getting messages, whether it's in inboxes or in social media. And most of them are sort of dry, boring, spammy. There's sort of templates copied and pasted. Not all, right? But a lot of them are like that. And you sort of get it in your inbox and, it's an easy delete. They're boring, let's be honest. And what I'd love you to do is just stop for a minute and think of messages that you've been sent that have been humorous and memorable to you. A couple come to mind. I won't be able to repeat them exactly off the top of my head to do them justice, but if you do want to get them, just reach out to me. But I've saved them in my swipe file, and I have used variations, and it's worked really well. So what about you? Did you respond to them? Okay. Did you tell other people about them like I'm telling you now? So some of you might be thinking, Paul, I'm not humorous. I don't have a funny bone in my body. I'm just not funny. But look, funny, quirky, to me, they're all sort of in the same family. So ultimately what you want to do is stand out. And I think you need a pattern interrupter so that it's not the same boring messages like everyone else is sending. And sometimes, stating the elephant in the room or what's obvious to everyone but no one's talking about is also a great tool to build these relationships through humor. So, for example, moving from LinkedIn to email, LinkedIn can be a bit of a pain. So I call it out. I say, LinkedIn messages suck. Are you always trying to find them like I am, right? So it's sort of stating the obvious. Another one, especially for my age group, I must admit it was my favorite movie as a child, but, I find LinkedIn messages harder to find than the Willy Wonka golden ticket, right? So not everyone's got the same sense of humor, but at least you're doing something different and you get your point across. There is very little downside of using humor on your next message you send, right? It's one individual, you're testing it to see if it works. And it's like being a comedian on stage. You'll get instant feedback on it, so you'll know if it works if you know it doesn't. And, just don't leave it a message. You can also do this in your videos, your sales meetings, and other areas. I think humor can be used more. And I know for me, when I was certainly at Coca-Cola, I was such an intense person that I sometimes forgot that. And it took a call with my dad to realize that, no, I had to make sure that I combined that humor and bred it in. You can also, so we can all take ourselves too seriously, right? And especially in today's world, like, let's face it, there's some people that are really struggling, but, and there's a lot of news that is sort of, doom and gloom, but I think, bringing that humor up can be fantastic. So I'd like to say that, I like to think that Dad had a really rough childhood, and I think that's why every day that he has now is better than what he had before. And, he's never had a bad day. He's always an optimist. And these are great qualities to have when you're selling. And you don't have to have the experience that he's had, but I think you can definitely benefit from using humor. So thanks for listening. But what I really want you to do is go and implement. So I want you to go and implement some humor into your sales process today. Just send me some of your best one-liners or examples that you've come up with. So Paul at paulhigginsmentoring.com. You can get all the links in the show notes at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast, episode number 312, on the app you're listening to now. I always recommend Pocket Cast app. It's a favorite of mine. No sponsorship. It's just a favorite. If you want to know if you have a sales machine to drive your next $1 million in revenue and a predictable way of driving that, just go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/pulse. 9 critical questions you'll answer in about 3 minutes. It's only taken me 28 years to come up with them. Please connect and follow me on LinkedIn. If you know someone who takes themselves too seriously and is struggling to cut through, please share it with them. And you might actually share it with more than one. You might share it with a few people. They will love you for it. Please take action to build, live, and give, and please smile.
Thanks for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please share it and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.